In this video, we're going to explore the parts of our personality that, when blended with this mode of behaviour, tend to elevate our sense of self-esteem and self-worth by putting our achievements, our possessions, or our behaviours in certain circumstances above those of other people. This mode is often one that can fly under the radar for a lot of us, as we usually deny its existence and keep it hidden within our personality system because of the shame that we might attach to the fact that we actually think this way. At the same time, this is an important part for us to build an understanding for, because working with it can lead to a grounding sense of humility. So today, let's have a conversation about the mode of behaviour that we call the Self Aggrandizer. So when the self-aggrandizer mode is dominant within our personality system, it can show up in a number of different ways. In its extreme, when we're blended with a part that's using this mode of behavior, we can be seen by other people as someone who's a bit entitled, overly competitive, or grandiose in the way that we present our possessions, our looks, or our accomplishments. This is usually done in an attempt to obtain an elevated level of status or approval, or to get the admiration from others that we particularly want in that specific moment of time. From a textbook perspective, when this mode is activated, we tend to expect some sort of special treatment, and there's often a belief that we don't have to follow the rules that other normal people have to follow. The self-aggrandizer usually acts in these self-elevating ways, building up our achievements with the sole intention of inflating our sense of worth and superiority over the people around us, or the ones that we're actually judging. This behaviour pattern is often, but not always, linked to a schema of entitlement, which is usually created in the environment we grew up in for a number of different reasons, some of which might not be that clear for us to see when we first start doing this type of work. The beliefs of the self-aggrandizer are formulated by the unique perceptions about the childhood experiences we had within our family of origin. However, this mode doesn't always come about as a result of being spoiled or always being told how great we are. It's often the case that the desire to elevate our own sense of self-worth comes from a need to compensate for strong subconscious feelings of inferiority that lie buried deep beneath the surface. And as I said before, it's not always the case that the self-aggrandizer is an easy part for us to spot. Many people actually push back against the notion of this behaviour pattern even existing within our personality system. However, in my opinion, it's pretty much a fact that most people have a self-aggrandizer of some sort. So learning how to recognise its presence is an important thing for us to do, which often takes us practicing a certain degree of humility along with a large amount of self-honesty. In my own personal journey of self-reflection, I was introduced to the possibility of a self-aggrandizer existing within my personality early in the process. Now, I've got to be honest, I had an instant reaction to this notion based on a rigid belief in my system that this part just simply didn't apply to me. I was better than that. I never put myself above others, and I was generally opposed to the possibility of its existence in my personality. The irony of this self-elevating thought process and the beliefs that go along with it is that they very much belong to the part of our personality that's using a self-aggrandizer mode of behaviour. Once I began to accept this mode as a really interesting and important part of my personality, I started noticing it in many different areas of my life. Every time I observed an individual not following a rule that I personally would follow, or I saw someone doing something that I considered to be unacceptable, my self-aggrandizer would come to the forefront of my thinking. A basic sense of self-righteousness and contempt would begin to creep into my system, and I'd often elevate my own level of self-esteem by internally proclaiming that I would never do something like that. Man, I really need to find a place to park. I've got to get a coffee before I get to work. This place is rammed. Wow, that guy parked in a really crappy spot. Definitely a no parking zone, just to run in and get his coffee. Wow. Oh, that's disgusting. I would never do anything like that. What an idiot that guy is. That's just not acceptable. I'd never dream of doing anything like that. I'm way better than that, don't you think? Yeah. What a loser. That drives me nuts, man. People just don't get it today. Society is so freaking messed up, man. I just don't do anything like that. I would never do anything like that. Ridiculous. There were also times when my self-aggrandizer would show up when I was discussing my past achievements with certain people that I was desperately seeking approval from. What we did last year by a considerable amount, which... Oh, this guy doesn't have a clue. He thinks his job is important. Oh, he thinks he does important things. He doesn't know who you are or what you do. Just wait, he's going to find out exactly who you are in a second when you tell him. Go on, tell him. Yeah, got it. Did I tell you all about my new role at work? I've got so much responsibility now. They've got me overseeing a whole department. They got rid of the last guy because he just couldn't do the job properly. And now that I'm there, all the staff are saying how much better it is with me in charge. Yeah. This mode of behaviour would also show up in certain social settings when I was discussing some recent purchases with people that I didn't really know, and there was a part of me that was subconsciously looking to impress them. Yeah, so we shopped around and we managed to find it for... Man, this guy's a total loser. Can't believe how much he paid for that thing. I'd never pay that much. He should have done his research. What the hell? Someone definitely saw him coming. What an absolute idiot. Tell him what you got it for. Hold on a second. How much did you pay for it? Wow, that's ridiculous. I'd never pay that much. I think I got mine for almost half the price. You should have shopped around a bit more, man. Done some proper research like I did. Then you wouldn't have got ripped off the way you did. For me, each of these examples was the essence of my own self-aggrandizer. It actually existed in my system as a defense mechanism, counteracting my own underlying imposter complex and feelings of inferiority. My internal critics used demanding and degrading observations, continuously pointing out the areas of my life where I was basically screwing things up.
When are you going to start to realise that there's something wrong with you? You've got to figure this out. You're a loser. You're stupid. Everything you do goes wrong, so clearly there's something wrong with you. It's always your fault. There's never anything you do that goes right, so you're a loser. You're stupid. You're an idiot. You haven't got the brains to figure this out. Think you're an intellect? Hell no. You're so stupid you couldn't do a single thing right. Get it together.
In order to compensate for this self-perpetuating sense of failure, guilt and shame, I developed a part of my personality that would push back with observations of its own. I'm simply better than you, smarter than you, stronger than you, and I hold my values in a way that is superior to the way that you hold yours. The problem with this way of behaving was that it kept me disconnected from the people that I really wanted to connect with, and it only served to prolong my deep-rooted sense of loneliness. As we talked about before, many people have a hard time accepting the existence of a self-aggrandizing part within their own personality system, pushing back against a narrative that for some can represent a shameful way of thinking that's tied to a point of view about what it means to actually think this way. But here's the thing, if we actually want to make changes in the way we see the world, we first have to accept the way things currently are. Fighting with the point of view that's held by any part of our personality system just intensify its desire to act out. This is why we strive for the state of unconditional self-acceptance, accepting each and every part of our personality as an important part of who we are. Mode journaling can give us a particular insight for why this part behaves the way it does. Developing a Raven exercise for the times when we notice this behaviour playing out in our responses gives us the language we need to work with it. Planning ahead to build mastery, along with paying attention to positive events, gives us the skills we need to remove the rigidity to the behavioural response being needed all of the time. The key to all of this is practice, and practicing the skills. Then, when you think you've practiced them enough, practice them some more. Listen, many of us have a part that uses the self-aggrandizer mode as a behavioural response. This part lives within our personality system, serving a very specific purpose. For some, it's definitely true that it can be seen in behaviour that's entitled, competitive and grandiose. For others, it exists only within our thoughts. The point is, this part is often seeking status in one way or another, trying to get whatever we want and probably need at that particular point in time. Living the life that you want to live means practicing the art of unconditional self-acceptance, and this is true even for the parts of our personality that we may be conflicted about accepting. In the PDF at the bottom of the website page that's connected to this video, you'll find a worksheet that's designed to help you identify if this mode is one that you experience as a dominant way of coping with your uncomfortable and unwanted emotional experiences. Take some time to read it through and contemplate the questions before you just jump in and answer them. Reflect on how relevant they are to you, and if you think and feel that this is a mode of behaviour that exists within your own personality system, try using the skills of DBT when they're integrated with schema therapy that I mentioned before to build awareness for its presence within your own personality system. As always, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and turn on the notifications to get all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. If you'd like to know more, come join the live online meetings that I facilitate each week on Zoom. You'll find a link to the page containing more information about those groups in the description below. I hope this video gave you some insight for how the Self Aggrandizer might exist within your own personality system, along with what we can do to work with it. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Take care, be safe, and be well.